Let's look at some of the customs of the Mezricher Maggid. Rav Dov Ber Mezzrich, Zchusa Yagen Aleinu. He lived a long time ago, the end of the 18th century, in Ukraine, Poland, Ukraine. The borders are not exactly the same then as they are now. The Rav Maggid, Rav Dov Ber of Mezrich, most of his customs were received from his Rebbe, the Baal Shem Tov, Rav Yisrael Baal Shem Tov. He had general customs and he had his own private customs. So the Mezericher Maggid was very careful about order, about the order of the day, the order of in Mezzrich, they had a very special order of the Niggunim, the Jewish songs that they would sing. The Mezricher Maggid was the Talmud, the student, Hasid of the Baal Shem Tov, and he became the successor after the passing of the Baal Shem Tov. He became the new Rebbe. He was very careful about spreading the word of Hasidut, the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov, in public. And he would dress them up often in stories to illustrate examples, to make the depth and the lofty heights of the teachings of the Baal Shem Tov understood to the common Jew. So this was he would very often do this for new students. He would do this both for new students and for great students who already understood the depth of the teachings of Hasidus. However, he wouldn't do this for everybody. He would not accept anyone as a student. It was the custom of the Mezericher Maggid to, when he had an understanding of the concept in the Torah, he would say it out loud, even if the people around him didn't understand so much what he was saying. And the reason for this was in order that when the new concept of Torah comes down from the world in the aspect of the redemption of the word, the coming out of the word, is a theological understanding of the Baal Shem Tov and the Maggid. So the word comes out, and he would even if it was understood, it was from a higher world and it wasn't a concept that could be understood, he would say it, because it had to come into this world in a certain way. And when it's drawn into this world, then it's here, and even if it's at the end of the world somewhere, by means, if the concept of Torah is in exile at the very ends of the world, by means of striving and by means of the performance of the Torah and the mitzvot, the word can be retrieved. So he says here that it's our striving and our work in the Torah and mitzvot that brings these new concepts of Torah down. I added personally, it's not written here, that it also takes the word, no matter where it is, we can bring it back. That's my twist on what's saying here. Now I'll get back to what the Maggid said. These are all I'm reading from the customs of the of the Maggid, in Maggid Devar V'Liakov, the book of the teachings of Rav Dov Ber of Mezrich. So according to how much we work, how hard our striving is, that we have a corresponding drawing of the new concepts of the Torah from the upper worlds down into this world. But if it wasn't drawn down if it's just drawn down in thought, it's not enough. There's something about speech, the power of speech. It can create worlds. God created the world with speech, and so do we. We create our own worlds with speech. The way you speak and the words that come out of your mouth create the world around you. Sometimes there is a limit. I'm opening parentheses. There is a limit to how much we can control the world around us by our speech. Sometimes our words will fall on deaf ears, but then it could be remembered years later, and it could change the world. We don't know. Once the word goes out, it's out. We don't know if the ears are deaf now and won't be deaf later on. Now I'm closing parentheses and going back to the customs of the Maggid. Maggid. But it has to be drawn out through speech. That's why it's very nice to think about the Torah and to think about the Psalms. They have a prayer in the brain, in the thought. But there's something about saying the words of our prayer, of our davening. When we're reading Tehillim, we speak. Now nobody has to hear us speak. Just move your lips. So what is this? Why move my lips if nobody can hear? This is one of the mysteries of the Torah. This is the mystery of speech and voice. So the Maggid says it's not enough to be in the mind. It has to come out through speech. It's only going to stay in heaven if it's just in the brain. The brain is the corresponding lower receiver, the representation of heaven in this world. This world is not heaven, but our brains can conceive of heaven. But the speech brings heaven into this world. That was the intention of the Maggid when he had a new concept of Torah, of saying it, of speaking it. Is to draw it into this world. And then the meaning of even if it's not understood, the meaning could come later once the word is there. And this is enough for those who understand.